you very much, everybody, for being here today. You may not realize this, but today is a great day in American history. It is Lois Snowmellow's birthday. Some people refer to her as former Senator Snowmellow. I call her future Senator Snowmellow. Know that I have a deep affection for this area, and it's not just because I love the number 2 of the Frings and Simoneses. My uncle, Charlie Abbott, practiced law here in this area for more than 40 years until he died last year. My cousins grew up on Lake Street in Auburn, and this is an area that was always very special to me. I think that Maine could learn a lot from this region, too. If we look back to a lesson from 149 years ago. At the start of the Civil War, the price of cotton went through the roof, and textile manufacturers all over this country immediately sold their cotton to make a quick buck. Well, there are a couple people around here, a guy named Bates, somebody named Libby, who held on to that cotton until the end of the war. They bet on the long term, they bet on the future, rather than trying to make a quick buck. They made out pretty well. They established an economy that sustained this region for more than 100 years. And that's what we have to start doing in Maine. We have to start looking at the long term. We've got to invest in the future and not just use Band-Aids and baling wire to try to put our state government together. One problem that we have in Maine is that our government's gotten to be too big. It's trying to be all things to all people. But ironically, by trying to be all things to all people, our government's become further removed from our citizens. Our regulators, in particular, are so out of touch. They've lost touch with what we want, but more important than that, they've lost touch with what we need. I'm frustrated with our state governments because sometimes I feel like it just can't do anything right. I look at the spending increases that we've had in Maine over the past decade. I look at our failed Dirigo Health program. I look at the fact that our Department of Human Services can't even buy a computer system. We've spent $60 million for a system that was supposed to be online 2 years ago. Excuse me. It's still not online. They now say it's not going to be online until August. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah. Our state government spends too much money. If I were governor, I'd cut the Dirigo Health program. I'd cut the Office of Healthcare Policy. I'd cut our state planning office. Our state government has 3 task forces on global warming. I'd cut all 3 of those. I believe that our government should start moving more functions out to the private sector. The problem is, when you hire a state employee to do a job, because of our benefit structure, you're hiring that person for life. If you hire a private contractor to do a job, when the job's done, you're done paying them. My rule of thumb is, if you can find it in the yellow pages, the government probably shouldn't be doing it. I think that tourism is important for our state, and I think that sometimes tourism involves a Maine guy, a shotgun or a rifle, a snowmobile or an ATV, and I think that's a good thing. I also think that while tourism is important to our state, if our state's going to succeed, we need industry. I'm tired of the attitude in Augusta where people have quit on the paper industry and they've quit on manufacturing. Because I think if you quit on paper and you quit on manufacturing, then you're quitting on Maine. You know, we've got manufacturers in Maine who are competing in an incredibly competitive global environment. They're doing very well, and they're doing very well despite the fact that our state government tries to throw up regulatory roadblock after regulatory roadblock every step of the way. We treat our businesses like they're cash cows to finance every kind of incredible social engineering program that our state can come up with. We've got to change that attitude. And I believe that small businesses are the cornerstone of our economy. acts like small businesses don't matter. The so-called sick leave bill to mandate benefits for part-time workers is just the latest example. No other state in the nation has this requirement. I believe the last thing that Maine businesses need is another opportunity to lead in a first-in-the-nation social experiment. I believe that the government's too quick to get involved in our personal lives. I believe that adults can decide for themselves whether or not they want to wear motorcycle helmets. I believe that our state law enforcement personnel have more important things to do than look into our car windows to see whether or not we're wearing our seat belts. I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I love to hunt, I love to fish. My brother, my dad, and my grandfather have all been Maine guides. My grandmother, who's a bay trad, by the way, shot a 300-pound deer when she was alive. My sister hunts bear. I own guns, and I use them. I believe that Maine's outdoor heritage is a critical part of what it means to be from Maine, and I'll fight to protect that if you'll elect me governor. I like to ride ATVs. I like to drive my dad's John Deere tractor and bush hog the fields around our hunting camp in Rumford. I mow my own lawn. I clear my own driveway. I've got a terrific wife who's here with me today. Her name's Amy. She's a babe trad too. We've got two wonderful children, and I can tell you that the time I get to spend with them is the most precious thing to me in the whole world. I love to coach their sports teams. I love to play with their friends in the neighborhood, and I like to work in the garden with them too. The state of Maine is off track. We've lost our way. But I know that if we all work together, that we can get this state back on track. Maine can do better. Maine has to do better. And if you elect a Republican governor, Maine will do better. Thank you very much.